No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
Death lying down. He's pulling out all the stops for revenge, an eye for an eye kind of thing, but way worse. We're talking a butcher and a rat catcher hired to do the dirty work. Yeesh. From the trailers, it looks like things are gonna get messy. This might be even more shocking than whatever they threw at us in Season 1. What do you think? Can you stomach another brutal death scene? Hello my slasher villains. Today we will talk about the history of blood and cheese, the most brutal characters from House of the Dragon Season 2. How blood and cheese comes to the scene. Things are about to go dark in House of the Dragon Season 2. Remember how Daemon was furious about Lucerys? Well, he's not letting that one slide. He hires these two thugs. Blood sounds charming, right? And cheese to get revenge. Think creepy butcher and a guy who catches rats. Not exactly inspiring confidence. These guys sneak into the Red Keep, like assassins in the night, and find Alicent. They tie her up and, well, let's just say it doesn't end well for her maid. Then, things get even worse. Helaena walks in with her 3 kids, just trying to see their grandma, and bam! Blood and cheese grab them all. Helaena is freaking out, of course. They put a knife to her throat and force her to make a choice. Pick which one of her sons gets killed. Talk about an impossible situation. She begs them to take her instead, but these guys are heartless. They even threaten to hurt her daughter. Imagine the horror. Helaena, desperate to protect some of her kids, picks the youngest, Maelor, to save the others. But in a shocking twist, Blood goes rogue and kills poor Jaehaerys instead. Basically, they get their revenge, leaving Helaena complete trailers. Remember that first glimpse of Helaena freaking out with a knife at her throat? That all but confirmed the brutal blood and cheese scene is coming. And those new trailers? They're packed with even more clues. Here's what I saw. 2 shady guys lurking in the Red Keep, one with a torch and the other with a weapon. Not exactly tourists. Then there's a maid carrying a blood-soaked sheet. Yikes. Sounds like things got messy. Alicent's all veiled up, hiding something maybe? And finally, both her and Helaena are in a funeral procession. That doesn't exactly scream happy times after a visit from Blood and Cheese, does it? Looks like things are gonna get dark in King's Landing. Blood and Cheese serves to push the Dance of the Dragons into overdrive, with both sides desperate for vengeance and blood. Much of the warring in House of the Dragon Season 2 will be fought in the Riverlands, both by armies and dragons. Perhaps the biggest impact, though, is on Helaena herself. She sinks into depression after Jaehaerys' death, and later in the story will take her own life. Aegon himself becomes more reliant on drinking alcohol after the event.
Lay the board before us.
Proceed cautiously.
Fuck dignity! I want revenge.
Fate of Blood and Cheese. Looks like Blood wasn't as sneaky as he thought. Dude tried to bring poor Jaehaerys' head to Daemon as proof of the job, but they caught him at the city gate. 2 days later, no less. Talk about bad luck. They tortured the info out of him. Turns out a woman matching Mysaria's description hired them. Rough way to go, but at least they got some answers. Cheese, on the other hand, vanished without a trace. Lucky guy, I guess. King Aegon was furious, of course, and wanted to take revenge on Dragonstone, but his advisor, Sir Criston Cole, had a different plan. Send someone undercover instead. Seems like this war is about to get even more complicated.
This senseless war must end.
Shall none of us prevail?
Will House of the Dragon show us the brutal scene? They might show the aftermath. House of the Dragon has shown violence before, but it hasn't been overly graphic. They might depict the horror and devastation of the scene through the aftermath, Alicent's grief, the blood-soaked sheets, etc. Focus on the psychological impact. The true brutality of Blood and Cheese might be the psychological torture they inflict on Helaena. The show could focus on her terror and desperation as they force her to make an impossible choice. Off-screen horror. They might simply show Blood and Cheese entering the room with Alicent, then cut away right before the violence happens. The audience would be left to imagine the horror that unfolds. They might surprise us. There's always a chance they'll go all out and